going into other effects and then kind of coming back together and being piped into other effects. And you can create very interesting sort of signal routing chains. The one thing you can't do is make them recursive, unfortunately, because that would probably cause more problems than solve as everything would feedback and be filled with madness. Raw drums. They're just samples. Where are the drums running through? So they're running through, for example, here. This is a tube head. This side of the signal path. This is like a drive, for example. To age. This is all. This sort of built-in buzz effects. So pretty full stuff. This is only using 6 tracks, and the interesting thing is if I go, this is a 3 gig laptop, but this is using a whopping 3% CPU. So, very surprised. I mean, I guess people are doing very similar things. I'm surprised no one's actually run Buzz in like a 64K intro, because you could do some real interesting things. I'll show you something else that's even stranger. So I can go, as I said, VST professional effects. There's also VST instruments. So here's one called FM7, which looks very much like the Yamaha DX7. And it can make lots of, more gain. And you can sequence it basically like a tracker. Throw a compressor on here. There's only got so much volume. Okay. Look, it's our mega demo. So as you see, I've entered the note data in a tracker style form, but the actual instrument is the software synthesizer. So I can change to a different patch. What have you. And so the note data is basically internally being output as MIDI. So you get your tracker style friendly interface, only in a modern, 21st century virtual instrument. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to sit down for this one. I'm going to get serious. Well, so the main thing about, reload my old example. And so the main benefit of all this is what I consider just pure raw, unadulterated speed. The time it would take you to, in Cubase, go load a bunch of VSTs, load a piano roll, get a MIDI keyboard, start playing some notes, quantize the notes, say, oh, I messed up a beat, okay, and redo it, move things around. In a tracker, you could practically make an entire song. So let me just make some stuff real quick. I got some, go back to those simple samples. There's the drums. Where's our little bass? Make another tracker. Get our little cheesy bass line. I guess we'll make it in C. Now I'll go and pull up that VST I had up earlier with my crappy rave lead sound. Oh, this is not going to be good. It's just going to be real cheesy. I'll happily let you use this in your 1982 style Commodore 64 demo, free of charge if you want to when this is done. Just kidding. Okay. So I've now got the FM7. I've put a delay effect on it. I've now put in a little bit of a compressor, just get some volume. You're like, okay, and then add a pad of some sort, perhaps. So let's say I want something dreamy. What do we got? Just kind of making this up. That'll work. Oh yeah, nice and cheesy. So I go and cool thing about Buzz, patterns don't always have to be the same length. I've been predominantly using 16 length patterns, 64. What this means is when sort of these ones will play a 16. As you see, this is 0, 16, 32, 48. These are all 16 length patterns. So I have to keep typing 0 to replay the pattern over again. This one is 64, which is this entire space long, basically. So I can go and enter notes, for a while, and basically just saves me from having to like make individual things. I'll make some cheesy chords. Oh, that clicking's not gonna work. So now you have some cheesy song, and now you want to make it into an actual sort of listenable thing. You just block copy. You're like, okay, we'll make the drums come in first. I'll label these for your presentation convenience. So drums first, then you can bring in the bass. Then you'll have some sort of a breakdown, where you'll bring in the crappy lead. Maybe you'll bring in the pad at the same time. I'm not even listening to this because I can sort of, it's all sort of visually, you can see it laid out in front of you. And then we need the crappy drum sort of fill before we bring back crappy sounds. So we'll go and do my, we'll go and change the volume just to have it not sound that terribly crappy. And look, we got a song. You got some drums. You can sort of, this will be the part where it's like, now presenting at Nauticon 2007, a fantastic demo, greets and shit. And then there'd be like, here comes our crappy drum build-up. Yeah. Truly terrible. But in general, it's a really amazing sort of way to sort of enter music. And short on time. At this point, I guess I'm just going to sort of open it up to any questions that anybody has.
What is the status of Buzz?
Buzz. So the dude lost the source code in a hard drive crash. It was the guy Oskari Tamlin. He was in a demo group called Jascola, and yeah, he lost the source code. There's still a large library, a large amount of people making machines for it, of which there are in the hundreds of machines, synthesizers, effects that sort of plug into this architecture. And people have also gotten it to support VSTs and things, and so development continues, even though the original app is pretty much not going to change. There are many clones being developed, some better than others. I believe there's actually a semi-officially sanctioned one, which is people are trying to basically recreate Buzz so that development can continue. But I mean, I've used this on real albums that have been released like for 5 years now, and it works, you know, and you can make stuff that's sort of every bit as professional as anything else out there, especially the legions of people that use Fruity Loops or use Reason or use sort of more, I don't want to say non-professional, but more lower feature set tools. And so I hope that maybe someday that someone will clone it and can expand on it, and because for me, just the benefit of the tracker interface combined with modern sounding hardware and effects cannot be beat, especially since you can make a tune in about, a minute and a half. Questions, anybody else? Yes, Jim.
Source code's lost, so you can't modify it, but if the source code you could modify it, what would you like to see Fuzz change? I mean, what would you like to see added to Fuzz? It's pretty flexible as is.
It's pretty. It's definitely very usable as is. You could argue that certain things like renoise have much more of a sort of a pretty GUI and have more actual sample level editing abilities. But at that point, they basically are turning into Pro Tools or Cubase, and it sort of lose the charm of what it is, which is a glorified meta tracker, if you will, a tracker of trackers. Again, I've often when I first heard the lost source code, I was actually kind of almost gonna try to write one myself, but I realized that'd be pretty foolish. The actual application itself is not that complicated. It's the plugins that are complicated, and people have written a lot of great stuff for the architectures of standard sort of DLL API that people can write to. So, anything else? Yes, I'll show you that real quick. I was meaning to do that. Where's my crappy lead? So let's say I want to go and I'll put a VST on this. What do I got? It's my laptop, so I'm not always entirely sure what's on here. Make life easy. Here's a filter. Looks kind of like that. And I'm just going to go and make a pattern for the filter, because why track instruments when you could track effects? So now I'm tracking the filter. I'm going to go and just randomly change it between different presets, basically. And so now it kind of sounds like this. So hopefully this doesn't crash. I'm just changing presets sort of in a tracker, which is controlling the VST, which is an effect another tracker is going through. So in short, yes, any parameter of anything can be automated because you just basically make a tracker for it.
Can the parameters change smooth enough on some values, or do you need to?
Yes, the latest VST wrapper. The latest VST wrapper has you can specify how it interpolates in between ticks, so it's pretty smooth, yeah. And if you want more ticks, you just up the BPM and you get more ticks. So if there's nothing else, I guess that's it. Thank you guys for coming out, and that's tracking for you. Thank you.
Check. And also, just a reminder to everybody, we do have all the DVDs from the conference available outside, so if you're interested, come and see me. Thank you.